I shredded about 2 cups of zucchini. I found a zucchini in my garden, one skinny old zucchini. That's about 2½ cups of shredded zucchini. I'm going to take my grandma's mixing bowl. I'm going to need 3 cups of flour, so I'm going to use up what I have in my half-gallon container, and also I'm going to use some of the flour I got from the LDS cannery. I do have flour in my big buckets, but I don't want to open that up. This is just perfect for today, what I'm going to do. 3 cups of flour in the bowl, 1 teaspoon of salt. We're going to put a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder, and I like to use the aluminum free. God knows I don't need aluminum in my stuff, so about a teaspoon of that, baking soda, baking powder, 2 teaspoons, and I like heaping teaspoons of cinnamon. You see that? 2 heaping teaspoons of cinnamon. And that's all you put in your mixing bowl. That would be 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 2 heaping teaspoons of cinnamon. And I know I'm one of those crazy people. I got to clean up as I go, so I'm going to go ahead and put these away. Now those of you that know me know I hate using more utensils than I have to, because I'm always trying to ask myself what would happen in an SHTF situation. But in this case, for today, we're going to put our wet ingredients, which will be our oil, sugar, brown sugar, extract, zucchini. We're going to put it in here, and we're going to whip it up. Now, lo and behold, I do not have oil. I would have to go into the basement to get it, and I don't want to, so I'm going to use Crisco. This might be what exactly happens to you in an SHTF situation. We have to substitute. So I'm going to take a little bit more, all right, about 1 1/4 cups of Crisco. I'm going to scoop it out of there. I'm always doing this. I'm always substituting, which is fine because you got to learn. My goodness, when stuff hits the fan, if you don't have everything just exact and you just get hysterical, well, where's that going to get you? So we learn how to substitute now. This is going to taste just fine. Into that, I'm going to put 1 cup of sugar, just white sugar. Yes, I'm going to put a little more. That's what I do. Okay? Into this bowl now, I put in my cup of white sugar. I put a cup of firmly packed brown sugar. I put in 3 of my chicken eggs. And I also want to make sure I put in about 2 teaspoons of my homemade vanilla extract. So it says 2, you know me, I'm going to pour a little more in just because I like it. I made this. This is Mexican vanilla. The beans itself was just ridiculously expensive, but I have gotten a lot of vanilla out of it. In fact, I'm going to put a little more in there. Doesn't hurt. Does not hurt. And I'm going to mix this up real good. Now, just to tell you what happened, I had been videoing this. I thought it was on record, but it wasn't. So I had recorded, I thought, all this process to you, but I wasn't recording. So now I am. And we're going to mix this up now. Now, because I'm using Crisco, it's going to take a little longer. But you know what? That's fine. Where am I going? I'm not going anywhere. So I can use my wooden spoon, and that's what I'll do. We're going to mix all this up. Now, the difference between my zucchini bread and something else you might watch, most people are going to use an electric mixer. Well, if the grid goes down, we might not have electric. So what Debbie's trying to do is teach herself, I try to teach myself what to do in the event I don't have electric. So you just use some friction. You see how you do that? Mix it up. It'll get nice. It'll just keep going at it. The fun thing is, I've never known anything, if you put a little love in it, a little elbow grease, doesn't come out. Alright, there might be a few little lumpy bumpies that wouldn't be in there if I used a beater, and I have one. I don't want to use it. Now what I would like to do is get one of those fancy hand beaters I've seen. I might even get one of those from Lehman's. I think those were a pretty good idea. But what's nice about being a prepper, and what I'm trying to do, is learn what to do in the event there's no electricity. And as you see, that turned out pretty nice. Alright, what I'm going to do now is add my zucchini, which you know, I'm sure everyone here knows I didn't measure that. But I'm figuring it's about 2.5 cups. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And you know what? That's okay. See how that incorporates? There you go. That looks pretty good. The idea is to learn to substitute. We can all do this. I'm going to add my dry ingredients now. And I know, I have friends that are gourmet cooks, and they're like, put a little bit of the dry ingredients, a little bit of wet ingredients, back and forth, back and forth. I'm sorry, people, I don't have time for that. It's not that it takes a whole lot of time, but, you know, I keep thinking in a bad situation, all my energy is going to be used in so many different ways that I need to cut corners any way I can. Do you see how this is all incorporating? It will. You don't have to get absolutely ridiculous. Anybody who's made a quick bread before knows the consistency. I'm looking at this. This tells me, we're on the right track. We are definitely on the right track, but I think I would like to use just a tad more flour to this. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So for just once in my life, I'm actually going to measure about 1/3 more. I put about 1/3 more flour in there, as you can see, and I'm going to blend that up to the consistency that I like. You know, I know you can't smell it. I wish we had smell-o-vision. This already smells good. You see how wonderful that is? That's a beautiful zucchini bread. Ted just came back from our farmer's market, and he got some apple cider. Show the cider, Ted. How much was that?
$7.
Well, I probably should have done this before, but we're going to set the oven for 3 1/4. There we go. And when it's ready, we'll put our loaves of pans in. This recipe is going to make 2 loaves of zucchini bread. We're going to add some nuts to the zucchini bread, and I have a jar that I have left over from other things that I've cooked. I have some pecans, some walnuts in there, and I'm going to chop it up. I have my little handy-dandy non-electric chop-up machine, and this works just fine. So I chopped up a few nuts, and a few more, and I added it to the batter, and stir it up in the batter. I'm almost tempted to put some raisins in there too, but I'll save that for the pumpkin one. When we do the pumpkin. There we go. Now, can you honestly see any difference doing it by hand than you would have done it with an electric blender? I don't think so. And also notice this is beautiful, and I use Crisco instead of liquid vegetable oil. We just have to learn to do with what we have. We're going to try to evenly disperse this in half So what I do, I plop a little bit in to one, then I plop a little bit more into the other. This will make two nice breads. And I want to give a loaf to my assistant at school, because she's just the absolute best. In fact, she's going to be on my radio show, because that woman can make Mexican food. She is something else. Everybody begs her for her salsa. And yes, I can make salsa, but geesh, why should I bother when I got somebody who makes it like her? So she's just new to prepping, and I like to bring her things because I like her to know that I truly, truly value her. Without her, I couldn't have the right team to teach those kids, and they are a little bit of a challenge. So, as you see, I think I have mixed that evenly. My oven just beeped a few minutes ago, so it's ready to go. So as you see, these sure look good to me. And we did substitute, that's for sure. We substituted the Crisco for the oil. And we did a few other things, didn't we? But you're going to see how wonderful this turns out, and Ted will be the guinea pig. Okay, after 60 minutes, now I know I said 45, but after 60 minutes, you'll see this is a nice firm consistency. This bread's very, very nice. 60 minutes though, at 3 1/4. And then I turn it out. I would have liked to turn it out a little more gently than that, but one-handed, what are you gonna do? And that's a nice zucchini loaf. Could already tell. Now that's with Crisco instead of oil. And this will be the same thing, but maybe a little thicker. So now I'm gonna turn that over, and I'm gonna let that get, let's see, usually a little hot, but I don't have the most tenderest hands on earth, so I will also turn that over on its side. It's looking good. Beautiful loaves of bread, just beautiful. So, wish I had more zucchini. I'd make a whole bunch more, but that's what God gave me. That's what I'm using.